Hello, beautiful you. Thanks for dropping by this video. I'm going to be sharing a little bit about some things I've learned in Al-Anon. If you're not familiar with Al-Anon, I invite you to check out the official Al-Anon website, al-anon.org. I don't speak for Al-Anon. I'm just a member, and I'm just going to share my opinions, my experience, my personal experience, strength, and hope. So the first step in Al-Anon is so interesting. Admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Well, my thoughts are everyone is powerless over alcohol. The alcoholic is powerless over alcohol, and all people are powerless over another person's drinking, right? Because that's what it means in Al-Anon, that, hey, I'm powerless over someone else's drinking. I can't make them stop. I can't make them moderate. I can't control their drinking. Because if they're an alcoholic, they can't control it. But in my understanding, there's another aspect to it, and that is I'm powerless over the way me, as an Al-Anon, have been impacted by another person's drinking. That just as an alcoholic has an obsession with alcohol that they can't control, I start to have an obsession with the alcoholic, and I can't control that obsession. And it leads to crazy thinking, crazy feeling, then crazy behavior. And next thing you know, my life has become unmanageable. So I haven't had an active alcoholic in my life for a long time, but I'm still powerless over the effects of alcohol on me. I still have that craziness within me that requires a spiritual solution. And I've tried everything else. I started my healing journey. I started my spiritual journey when I was 16. I'm 50 now. And I started specifically my healing journey of trying to heal sort of the unwellness within me when I was 19. And nothing worked. Many things were beneficial. I've grown through all those things, but none of them were able to actually address and help me begin to heal and resolve the suffering other than Al-Anon. And I know that can sound crazy to someone outside of Al-Anon. And again, this video is primarily for people who are familiar with Al-Anon. If you're not, you're welcome to watch it. But I'm going to read a little bit from how Al-Anon works. So this is someone sharing before they came to Al-Anon. They said, I feel like there must be some secret to happiness, something that everyone else knows that I am supposed to know as well. And if I could just figure it out, I would feel great about my life. But no matter how hard I try, I just can't find the answer. I've tried everything: church groups, social groups, therapy, biofeedback, psychics, and I think I've read every self-help book written. You name it, I've looked for answers there. Sometimes I found a little comfort, but nothing that ever lasted, nothing that ever really changed my life. I feel like something is missing, like something is wrong with me. That was page 4, and here's another selection from page 7. And this is talking about what people have tried before coming to Al-Anon. So we've changed our circumstances, our jobs, clothes, friendships, locations, religion, practically everything about ourselves, but nothing seems to have a lasting impact on our suffering. And because of that, we come to Al-Anon hoping to find some answers, but doubting that there is any hope to be found anywhere. And also, more often, we come because everything we have done to solve our problems has failed, and so we've run out of ideas. So those were a couple of snippets from, again, how Al-Anon works, pages 4, 5, 6, and 7. And that described me to a T. I tried everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. And I came to Al-Anon, and I kind of came in and out of Al-Anon for a while, but once I really committed to not just going to meetings and participating, but the Al-Anon way of life and taking this philosophy seriously and actually making Al-Anon my number one priority. My life changed. My life changed radically. And I had the most stable, grounded, balanced, healthy, productive 3.5 years of my life when I put Al-Anon first and really committed to it. And then sadly, as can often happen, I left. I let myself be drawn away by other spiritual paths. And it's not that Al-Anon is exclusive to other spiritual paths. It's just, for me, as a severe Al-Anonic, as someone who's been deeply, deeply impacted by alcoholism, I just need to put the Al-Anon program first. And then once I do that, there's many other things I can explore and do, and even other spiritual paths that I can incorporate into my spiritual life. But I just have to put Al-Anon first. And in that leaving, my life descended, and I found out that I learned the hard way, because then I tried everything again. Then for the next 10 years, I tried everything over again and nothing worked until I came back to Al-Anon. And then, not like everything was made perfect, but a very, very radical, like a different life started over. So I'm going to read from a book called One Day at a Time in Al-Anon. This is page 30. Most of us come to Al-Anon for help as a last resort. We've tried everything else. Perhaps we've seen its effects on others. It seemed to have worked like magic, and we want some of that. Then we find out that it isn't magic. It's a kind of spiritual common sense that we must buckle down and learn. We start like children in first grade with the first step. We had admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. The second part of this step is easy to admit, but the first part, we usually only give lip service. We find it difficult to surrender to the idea that we, the competent ones, who have tried to cope with an alcoholic situation, don't really know how to handle it correctly. Today's reminder: step one must be learned and repeated until it becomes a part of me. Whenever I give in to my natural impulse and habit to take over and try and force a change, I'm in trouble again. I know I can only make progress when I really believe in and practice the first step. And the quote is, I pray to be released from my compulsion to control any situation. I have so often proved I am unable to control it. Let me think, know, and feel my powerlessness. Then I will at last learn to let go and let God. Again, that was One Day at a Time, page 30. So I'm going to pause here today. I think I'll pick up tomorrow. And the last thing I'll say is what I'm sharing is not just philosophy or ideas. For me, these were life-changing and life-saving ideas that I had mental, emotional, physical, spiritual illness that I, by myself, on my own efforts, that I couldn't solve. Like I dug a hole that was too deep for me to climb out of. I needed the help of a higher power, and I needed the help of a loving community of other people who were relying on a higher power to help me out of that ditch. Thank you so very much for dropping by. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them. Have a beautiful day. I'm going to close with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.